The next technique we're going to demonstrate is the partial birth abortion. Partial birth abortion is a term that we hear a lot about in the news, but I really can't believe that people really understand what it means. Otherwise, we would not allow this procedure to be performed anywhere, not only in this country, but in the world. But a partial birth abortion is performed when the baby is too far developed in order to either be sucked out with the suction curette or to be able to be dismembered and brought out piece by piece with this forceps. A partial birth abortion, or a D&X, is very similar to what it says. We're going to deliver the majority of the baby, and then before the baby's head is delivered, then we're going to actually kill the baby. Now, before the procedure would start, the cervix would have already received those things we talked about called laminaria. Those are the sticks that go into the cervix that would then swell overnight and would open up the cervix because we have a lot more baby to deliver. And this can be performed anywhere up to term because remember, Doe versus Bolton defined mother's health as physical, emotional, psychological, familial, and age. So as long as the physician under those definitions says mother's health is in jeopardy, this procedure can be performed. Now, using an ultrasound to guide, the cervix will be dilated, the speculum would already be in place to open things up, and then using the ultrasound as a guide, this instrument would be placed in the inside through the cervix and would then grab one of the baby's feet. Once that foot is grabbed with that tenaculum, that baby's foot is then brought to the outside. Once that first foot is brought to the outside, then the second foot would be brought to the outside. And then with traction, with a baby that is still alive, the baby would then have both legs delivered, would then have its belly delivered. Once the baby is brought further down, first one arm would be delivered. That would be rotated this way. And then the baby is rotated around the other way, and the second arm is delivered. Now, the entire baby from the neck down is now alive and in the abortionist's hands that's performing this procedure. The entire baby, including the head, are already out of the womb, beyond the cervix, and the only thing that's left on the inside of the mother is the baby's head, but that's only just inside the vagina. And baby is moving, baby is alive, baby is intact up to this point. But if the baby then delivers, it's then considered a live birth and the baby would have to go to the nursery. But before that's allowed to happen, this is when the abortion would actually kill the baby. And the way they do that is, if you remember from biology class, there's that connection between the brain and the spinal cord, and that opening at the base of the skull is called the foramen magnum. And that small hole with the baby moving and alive in one hand, a pair of scissors, these are called Metzenbaum scissors. These scissors are then placed into the base of the skull, and these scissors are then placed in through that foramen magnum up into the baby's brain and skull cavity. The scissors are then opened up, and then if that hasn't killed the baby, then one of the suction curettes is then placed through that same hole up into the baby's skull and brain. The suction is applied, and just how you saw how powerful that suction machine is, if it can crush the steel can, then it can definitely kill the baby there on the inside. Once the baby has then been killed and is no longer alive, then the remainder, which is just the baby's head, is then delivered, and the procedure is then completed for the delivery of the baby. Once the baby is delivered, though, then the only thing that's left is to deliver the placenta by just, again, scraping the placenta and bringing that down. So when you hear the term partial birth abortion, that's what's going on. A baby is being delivered, the feet, the abdomen, the chest, the arms and the legs. The baby is then killed, and then once the baby is killed, then the remainder of the baby is allowed to be delivered. So that's partial birth abortion.